another major step forward, Guyana's farmers are now in a better place with the commissioning of the country's first vermicomposting unit and ACOUCHI ant bait production facility at NAREI's head office compound at Monrepo, East Coast Demerara. The two facilities represent a total investment of nearly $68 million and will help farmers with soil engineering and with the management of the hardy ACOUCHI ant pest that ravages crops across the country. Speaking at the commissioning exercise, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa said that government remains committed to transforming Guyana into a dynamic agri-food powerhouse, one rooted in innovation, inclusivity, and resilience. Speaking directly to the many school children and young adults in the audience, Minister Mustafa encouraged them to tour the operations of NAREI and see firsthand what is possible through the application of science in agriculture and to realize the potential for wealth generation that agriculture offers.
So all these development and budgetary allocation that we are making to the agriculture sector, to NAREI, as NAREI is our premier research institution. We want NAREI to help us to discover new areas in farming, to go into new areas, to develop new crops, to have high-yielding crops. That is why we are now building these facilities. And coming back to the process that I have been talking about. What is vermicompost? So for the students' benefit, I don't know, I hope I am correct because I am not the scientist who developed these things. But they say vermicompost is a process where you use worms. And I heard the chairman talk about our scientists dealing with the worms. Use it like things like plant waste, plant material, food scrapes on food and decomposed food, and use it, the worm, to decompose the organic waste so that it can become a potent fertilizer for us to plant. That's a process that they use here with the decomposed vermicompost lab. That will help us to reduce the waste that we go and take to the landfill site. You heard the capacity. Where are the scientists who work here? You? That's true, that's the process?
Yes.
Right. So she agreed with me, that's the process. So we have here now a facility where we can use waste to develop fertilizer. Organic fertilizer. High quality fertilizer. And it promotes sustainable farming. You all know that with what is taking place around the world, with all these chemicals and fertilizer, for example, there is a chemical now that is being used in the rice sector. What is the correct name? I know it as Pronto. Right? That name, if you go around and ask the rice farmers, they will not know the scientific name. They will know the chemical by the name of Pronto. When they use it, it's very effective to eradicate the paddy bugs. But what is the long-term effect on us? When you use it too much, and it gets into the rice, and we sell the rice to the EU, they refuse it. Because there are too much chemical. I got another scientist here who normally does this weekly program. You must ask him too. Right? Every week this comment is being on the television showing all the crops and all the areas and the chemicals and so. Right? Martin Lopez. Right? So Mr. Martin Lopez can say, because I can tell you, I had to discuss with the EU ambassador. And right now I am looking at a paper to take to cabinet to see how we can minimize. As a matter of fact, in the rice sector, we send out information to stop use that kind of chemical. But then it's coming through the back door, and our farmers is still using it because we have a substitute. to use in the rice sector. So today I am very happy that we are gathered here with all these young people who will see who will look firsthand and see here this morning what we are doing. And in another week from now, or another couple weeks from now, we will also commission for the first time in Guyana's history, we will be commissioning a tissue culture lab. You know what's a tissue culture lab? And I want you all to go because I want I want a lot of young people to get involved in agriculture. I know many of you who are here. The thinking is that agriculture is a menial job. Agriculture for people who never went to school. Agriculture for backward people. We have to change that perception. We have to change young people. We got to come on, we have to be serious. We have to change that perception. Without agriculture, we cannot have food security. And that is why, as a government, we are working to modernize the sector. You heard the officers talk about they used to produce it manually. They have to dry it in the sun. So when the weather is not favorable, you can't produce ants bait. They used to dispose of all the waste. They got the NDC and the local government bodies to come and take this to the dump site. Fill up our landfill dump sites. Serious problem with garbage in this country. Today, we have developed a process where we are using these wastes to the benefit of our country's development, to the benefit of the sector, the main sector in our country. And as your Minister of Agriculture, I want to tell you, I am not prejudiced here, but I want to tell you, and all of us should have this thought that the agriculture sector is the most important sector in our country.
The Agriculture Minister stressed that the modernization of the local agriculture sector has seen several initiatives bringing young people into the business of agriculture, referencing the President's Agriculture Innovation and Entrepreneurship Program, AIEP, commonly referred to as the Shade House Project.
Today, we are changing how we used to do agriculture 10, 15 years ago. We are now doing things like shade houses build a number of shade houses across the region, across the country. So we have moved, and what are the purposes of these shade houses? Now, if you have a shade house, you can control almost all the activity there. You could control the temperature, you could control the sunlight, you can control the amount of water when rain falls, everything on it. So you now can culture your plants how you want it to grow. So we started that 5 years ago. And when we started it, the President himself was involved in harnessing the young people's to bring them to this program, to harness their capacity, bring them to this program. And how we brought them? We brought them because we want young people to get involved. We want when you go and you study at the University of Guyana, you study agronomy, or you go to the Guyana School of Agriculture and you study, when you come out and graduate from those institutions, you must be able to practice what you studied there. You must not go in and do a clerical job because we are expending a lot of money. You go into the University of Guyana today, you don't have to pay tuition fees anymore. The government paying it for you. You go into the Guyana School of Agriculture, you don't have to pay tuition fees there. The government takes care of it. So we want the investment that we are making, we want to see it out there, because when you come out as agriculturists, when you come out as agronomists, and you match your skills with your learning, then our country will develop. Why do you think Brazil, our neighbors on the south, why do you think they are world-class? They have a world-class agricultural sector. Because they, just like you, young people, they harness your potential into the sector. They have an institution like NAREI called EMBRAPA. EMBRAPA is a world-class research institution. They're doing everything under the sun, all kinds of research. That is why when I spoke 2 years back, and we are still doing the trials of doing tropical wheat in this part of the world. Because you know, wheat have to grow in temperate area. And we don't have the temperate temperature in this part here. So we have been working very closely with EMBRAPA to develop the kind of variety that we want. So we want you, the young people here who are here this morning, we want you to walk around, ask questions, look at the facilities, and see what you want to get into your career, how you want to develop your career. But I want to encourage you here this morning that you are the future leader of this country. You are the people who will be responsible to take us into the future.
According to Minister Mustafa, Guyana will be a world-class food-producing country, and the investments made in agriculture over the last 5 years has positioned the country to realize this reality in the next 5 years.
We have moved the budgetary allocation from $13 billion in 2020 to $104 billion in 2025. And you rest assured that whilst I am speaking now, we are now crafting our budget for 2026. And you speak with the program heads and all the officers, they will tell you that I am guiding them that we must prepare for the future. We must do things that will help us in the future. We must not do the normal routine things. We must do things that will help us to move agriculture into new heights. We must do things so that we can make Guyana that country that we want Guyana to be. Once again, the food basket of the Caribbean. That is what we are doing. Now we are investing and we are building a food hub. We are building a food hub on the Linden-Soesdijk Highway at Yaru-Cabra. As I'm speaking now, construction is ongoing there. We have signed a contract with a U.S. firm, Bloomberg Grain, for $12 million US. I am hoping sometime next year, this food hub will be completed. Now, we are working very closely with the private sector, but we have to produce different crops to ensure that we have enough food in that food hub so that we can satisfy our local consumption and also take in the slacks that will be created when the Caribbean reduces its food import bill by 25% by the end of 2030.
Earlier in the program, Minister within the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Vikash Ramkissoon, while lauding the launch of the 2 new facilities, zeroed in on the expected impact of the new ant-bait production facility, what he said will now help farmers fight the scourge of the ACOUCHI ant.
Today of this particular day, ACOUCHI ant-bait production facility stands as a testimony of the Ministry of Agriculture's commitment to ensure that there is sufficient ant-bait available countrywide as we seek to reduce crop losses because of this ACOUCHI ant invasion that normally our farmers encounter. So as the officer just mentioned, the facility is equipped with semi-automatic mixing and pelleting system which will give a capacity of approximately 30,000 packs of bait per year, which implies that we are ramping the production almost 3 times more than we had earlier, which by any stretch of one's imagination is very productive and very useful, which will not just stop the destruction of the crops, but ensure that our productivity and our production is increased and improved in a sustained manner.
The vermicomposting process utilizes Yersinia fetida, commonly known as red wigglers, to biologically convert organic waste, including crop residues and livestock manure, into a nutrient-rich, microbially active soil amendment. The final product enhances soil nutrient absorption, structure, nutrient cycling, and water retention, while reducing reliance on synthetic fertilizers. In addition to vermicomposting, the facility also incorporates thermophilic composting, where heat-loving bacteria decompose organic materials such as crop residues and livestock manure, excluding fats and carcasses, under elevated temperatures. Since the introduction of this initiative, production has grown significantly, from 2,000 kilograms per year to 10,000 kilograms per year for vermicompost, and from 5,000 kilograms per year to 15,000 kilograms per year for thermophilic compost. This commissioning marks a significant advancement in the ministry's capacity to meet national demand, particularly in cassava and citrus production areas, which are the 2 crops most affected by ACOUCHI ants.